This is my fridge, completely empty. It's empty for a few reasons. Now, today's video, I really don't have much time, but I am just about to go and do a food shop, and I thought, let me just talk about food, let me talk about fasting, let me talk about the spiritual reason for why we fast and what the Bible says about it. Now, let me get into my shed, because this is where all the good stuff happens. This is where all the knowledge is about to be spewed. So, I'm going to give you one quote from the Bible. I'm going to give you one quote, and then I'm going to give you my interpretation for what fasting is and why we do it. Now, that quote is from Matthew 6:16-18, and that says, "When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others that they are fasting." Why is this quote important? Do not look somber as the hypocrites do. When we fast, we don't just do this because of the physical benefits, which there are many, and I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist, but there are many. But when we fast for God, it's reminding us of our dependence on Him. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself a question. When was the last time you ate? You might be eating now. It might have been 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, a day ago. And then I want you to ask yourself the question of, when was the last time you were actually hungry? When was the last time you were actually hungry? And I don't mean peckish. I don't mean you woke up and you got an empty stomach and you could eat. I don't mean you're not really eating much throughout the day and you've just been to the gym and you've got home and now you're really quite hungry. I mean, when was the last time you were hungry? When you hadn't eaten in days? Is there a time? Can you even think? Fasting isn't just a rule. It's not just a rule, and I'd argue that it's not a rule that we have to follow anywhere. I'd argue that fasting has a much bigger meaning to what it actually is, and fasting is about building our relationship with God, and it starts with building our relationship with food. And I know that sounds silly, but when you step away from food, you realize how much you miss it. And how much you may want food, and then you start getting hungry, and then you realize how much you actually need this in your life to survive. The longer you spend away from food, the more you will understand and have an appreciation for that food. Not so much for the taste, not so much for the filling feeling, but more so for the fact that it's the thing that is keeping you alive. It's the thing that is giving you energy, and without it, unfortunately, you're going to die. And when you step away from that food, and as the famous quote is, distance makes the heart grow fonder. When you step away from food, you realize how much you actually need this food. Same thing with God. When you step away from God in life, and you step away from God and you start going down this wrong path, eventually you're going to get to a point where you realize you can't do this stuff by yourself and you need Him. You need God. We all need God in our lives. And when we stop eating, we also take away all of the outward distractions and put our focus on God, because we're now having to put our focus on something else other than food. We have to put our focus on our mind. We have to put our focus on our spirituality, on our relationship with God, on the way we think, on the way we act. We're going to be low on energy. Where are we going to for this energy? Well, we're going to go to God. We're building our relationship with God. That's what fasting is for. Fasting is not a rule. Fasting is not a law that if you don't do it, you're going to go to hell. Fasting is a ritual in a way. It's a tool that draws us closer to Him. And it's something that if we are doing for God, not so much in a physical sense, we should do it behind the scenes. We shouldn't have to tell anyone. We shouldn't have to share these things with anyone. We should just get it done. Because if you want to build your relationship with God and yourself, you've got to do things between God and yourself. The thing with fasting, is that it goes deeper than just food. It has a much bigger meaning than just fasting from food. This can be from anything. When was the last time you fasted from porn, from sex, from alcohol, from cigarettes, from partying, from drugs, from being lazy, from gambling, from spending all your money, wasting all your money? When was the last time you fasted from swearing, from having a short temper, from not being kind to other people? When was the last time you did all of these things? Fasting isn't just about the food. There's so much more to it. Everything that we fast for, every worldly thing that we fast for, ends up bringing us closer to God. And that is the reason why we do it. That is the reason why we should do it. And if you haven't done it, give it a go. Fast from something. Try it. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. Barely drink anymore. I might have a pint now and then and a cigar now and then. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I like going out for a meal now and then, but February I'm going to be on this very strict calorie deficit diet. So I'm going to be fasting from any sort of junk food, any sort of sugar, getting away from it. Yes, okay, because it's good for my physicality, and I'm going to build my physical and yeah, my physical strength, but I'm also doing it for God. And I'm going to be doing things behind the scenes that's only between me and him, because the things that we do behind the scenes is what's going to build my relationship with him, which is the most important relationship there is and should be the #1 relationship that you focus on. So with all that being said, I'm in a bit of a rush and this video needs to get out tonight by 9 PM. So today is day 83 of me making a YouTube video every single day for 365 days. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 84. God bless. Bye.